My dear student, so this is Samarpan Suragan in front of you, and today I am here with you to discuss the very first chapter from your history book. And the name of the chapter which we are going today is the France Revolution. This chapter is very important for you all, so try to listen carefully. Okay, so this chapter you have to read in your next class, in the class 10 also. So the France Revolution. First of all, let me tell you what is revolution. A revolution is a recognizable momentous change in any situation, or basically a revolution is a group of people rising up in order to throw the system of government, or in the interest of setting an improved system. For setting an improved system, if the people raise their voice against the government, that is your revolution. To change any situation of a country, to change a situation and to establish the new system in a country. And so that happened in the France also in 1789. The France Revolution. The people demanded for the liberty, equality and the fraternity in the France Revolution. So before the revolution, France was ruled by a monarch named Louis XVI. Before the revolution, the France was ruled by the monarch named Louis XVI. You know what is monarch? Means king. And the country which is ruled by the king or a queen is known as the monarchy country. So the people demanded for the democratic country, and they raised their voice against the king by attacking a jail named Bastille in 14 July 1789. That was the first step taken by the people of the France in the revolution. 14 July 1789, the France Revolution was started. So the France Revolution brought to the end of the feudalism, the system of zamindari and monarchy which was existed in France for several decades. It is due to the pitiable economic condition of the monarchs and the unequal privilege enjoyed by the people of the France. So before the revolution, the power was with the Catholic Church or the church, and the people were divided into the states from higher caste to lower class. The people whoever in the higher caste were enjoying the higher power, and the people whoever in the lower caste were not allowed to enjoy any rights. There were the three states in the France, that is the clergy, nobility and the third estate. And the third estate constituting of the labor. So the clergy and nobility were in the power, and the laborer people were tortured by the monarchs as well as the clergy and the nobility. So the people from the third estate raised their voice against that brutal rule of monarchs, or against the brutal rule of the country. So the France Revolution brought a big impact on the nation with the importance to the right to freedom and sovereignty. This period saw many philosophical thinkers conveying the sense of unity to the common people. And the French Revolution, it lasted for the 10 years with the result in the establishment in Republic in France. So the revolution began because of the tax which was imposed on the commoners, also because of the food crisis. Okay, we will understand the chapter better in our class, and in this video I will just give you some important topics. What is France Revolution? What happened during the France Revolution? Okay, and what was the result of the France Revolution? First of all, I already explained you what is the France Revolution. The revolution which was started in France from 1789 to 1799. Okay, and the people were demanding for the liberty, equality and fraternity. So what is liberty? Liberty means freedom. Equality means being equal, and fraternity means brotherhood. So the people of the France were not equal before the revolution. There was no place for liberty, equality, and fraternity, and which people were suffering a lot. The monarch was imposing his brutal rule. Okay, so the name of the monarch who imposed the brutal rule was Louis XVI. Okay, so let me tell you some causes of the French Revolution. What were the causes of the main causes of the French Revolution? So the France at that time was a monarchical country. Louis XVI was the monarch during the French Revolution. So the brutal rule of Louis XVI is the one cause for the revolution in France. He became Louis XVI became the ruler of France in 1774. So what Louis XVI became the ruler of the France in 1774, and he had drained all the wealth or the financial resources of France in war. While doing war, the treasury of the France became empty. For the cost of his regular expense, he increased the tax, and which were paid by the third estate, means which were paid by the laborers. This was the one reason for improving the condition of economy in France. Louis XVI increase in the tax system is the one of the main causes. Another one is the division of the French society. The French society was divided into the three states, as I already told you earlier. So the first state was of Catholic Church. There were the three states I already told you. The first state, second state, and third state. So among them, the first and second state had 10% of total population in France. Just listen it carefully. Among the three states, first state, second state, and third state, first and second states had 10% of population, and were the clergy and the nobles. They enjoy all the privilege, and the rest of the 90% was from the third state, and which who have to pay all kinds of direct and indirect taxes. And this kind of the discrimination led to the revolution by the third state. So third state started the revolution. Okay, so the kind of the discrimination faced by the third state led to the revolution in France in 1789. Third reason for the main causes of the France Revolution was a rising price in the essential commodities. The population of the France had increased at that time. That resulted into more demand of food grains. When the population rise, then the demand of the food grains also rise. So the price of the bread rose rapidly, which the poor could not able to afford to buy it. So the gap between the rich and poor became wider. Who are the rich people? The people of the first state and second state were the rich one, and the people of the third state were the poor one, and the people of the third state have to pay tax also. Okay, so that is also the another cause for the revolution in France. And at that time there were so many philosophers who inspired the people of the France to do the revolution. Philosophers like John Locke, Rousseau, Montesquieu. Then the idea of their philosophy, like having a society where the people would enjoy freedom, equality before law, and equal opportunity. Their ideas of the people of France released their dream, and due to the inspiration of that philosopher, the people of the French demanded for the liberty, equality, and fraternity. And the last one is the role of middle class. In the 18th century, witnessed the emerge of the social group in France. They were known as the middle class people, who earned their wealth and through expanding the trade and manufacturing goods. There were other professions like lawyer, administrator, officers, and who were the well learned men. They believed that no group should be given privilege by birth. The people should be given privilege not by their birth, by their merit, by their merits. That was the thinking and the ideology of the middle class people. So these are the causes that helped for the revolution in France in 1789. So in the year of 1789, the France Revolution started leading a series of the event, and it was started by the middle class people. The people had revolted against the cruel rule of monarch, that is Louis XVI, and the revolution had put forth the idea of the liberty, equality and fraternity, which is the main thing. The idea of the liberty, equality and fraternity was started from the revolution in France. So the start of the revolution took place on the morning of 14th July 1789 in the state of Paris. Just remember, just listen carefully. The revolution started or they took place on the morning of 14th July 1789 in the state of Paris with the storming of the Bastille. Bastille is the name of a jail. And Bastille is considered as a power of the Louis XVI, or the power of the monarch. So, in the Bastille, Louis XVI used to prison the people who criticize the government. So the Bastille stood for the repressive power of the king, due to which it was hated by all. Bastille was the name of a jail in Paris, and it was hated by all because it stood for the repressive power of a king. And the revolt became so strong that the fortress was eventually demolished. The people destroyed the Bastille jail. People destroyed the jail Bastille. Okay, so it was the first thing that had happened in France in 14th July 1789. The revolution started or took place on the morning of the 14th July 1789 in the state of Paris with storming of the Bastille, which was one of the powerful prison, and the ruler of Louis XVI. Okay, so this was the introduction of the first topic from the France Revolution, and I will come with another video with subheading, and I hope you will understand the chapter well. So learn at home, and you also just go through the book, and if any confusion you can contact to me. So this is the introduction of the France Revolution, and I will be back with another video of the same chapter. Okay, till then, stay home, stay safe. Thank you very much.